Part 2. Crimson Flower. Ethereal Moon. Beyond Escape. It is Imperial Year 1185. Half a decade has passed since Emperor Edelgard ascended the Imperial throne, yet the continent of Fodlan still remains lost in a tempest of turmoil and bloodshed. In the Holy Kingdom of Fargus, King Dimitri has welcomed Archbishop Rhea and her knights, who were driven out of Garreg to the kingdom capital. As they work to build a unified front, the war with the Empire rages on to the west. Meanwhile, Claude, leader of the Alliance, staves off Imperial intervention by strategically stirring up conflicts between Leicester lords in an effort to feign neutrality. As events unfold, Edelgard and her Black Eagle strike force begin to take action in an attempt to break the war's current state of deadlock.
You. How long do you intend to sleep? Your body is awake. Your eyes must open now, and you must find the strength to stand upon those legs of yours. Like so much rain, a pool of blood has fallen to the ground. As spears and arrows pierce the earth, it weeps. And even now, it weeps. In order to survive, they kill. And so the people of this world are lost in an abyss of suffering. They weep as well. The only one who truly knows the nature of such things is I. Or rather, you. You are a complete and utter fool! Have you not changed one bit? Get on your feet. Right now! I'll coddle you no more! You are just like a child, always needing me to hold your hand.
Hey, are you awake? We're in a village at the base of the monastery. What are you doing in a place like this? I honestly didn't expect to find someone floating away down the river.
Garreg is upstream of here, but that place was abandoned.
Huh? You don't know? The Church of Saros isn't there anymore, though there have been some folks still living there in the 5 years since... well, you know. Regardless, the Imperial Army has taken over now. Are you feeling alright? You didn't hit your head or anything, did you? It's the ethereal moon of the year 1185. It's been nearly 5 years since the monastery fell. Tomorrow was supposed to be the Millennium Festival, but who's got time to think about things like that? Yeah, that's what I said. But with the war and the Archbishop still missing it all, I doubt there's a soul to be found who has enough blessings worth counting. Hey, slow down, will ya? Where do you think you're going? Are you crazy? The Imperial Army is there. Come on, I promise I won't say you're a coward. Just forget about going anywhere near the monastery. You just remember I tried to stop you. Got it? It's not on my conscience if you wind up dead. Students? You really are crazy, aren't you? There aren't any kids anywhere near that place anymore. Unbelievable.
"5 years ago to the day, if things had continued on as they were, today would have been the Millennium Festival." Halt! Who's there? It can't be. Professor? Is it really you? But I searched everywhere and never found a trace. My teacher. What have you been doing all this time? Where have you been? Joking? At a time like this? You do realize it's been 5 years since you disappeared. Do you have any idea how guilty I felt? How broken my heart was? I searched high and low after you vanished. Although there was no proof, I somehow knew you were alive. All this time, I led everyone as best I could, and fought with all my heart. It's been a difficult path to walk alone. Welcome back, my teacher. I'm so happy that you're safe. 5 years. Such a short time, but it feels like an eternity ago. Do you still feel the way you did all those years ago? You said then that you would fight at my side no matter how many enemies we should amass. As for me, my resolve has not faltered. I'm determined as ever to see this through to the end. I will defeat the false goddess. I will save this world from those creatures and give humanity its freedom back. So, my teacher, are you prepared to stand with me? I thank you. Truly. Now then, I assume you understand the situation at hand, yes? Another joke? Or are you telling the truth? I suppose you must be. In that case, I'll tell you all that has transpired as you slumbered these past 5 years. And that is where we are now. The war is at a stalemate. Dimitri is the new king of Fargus. It's clear that his territory will continue to support the church. Meanwhile, Claude's leadership has thrown the Alliance into chaos. He maintains neutrality in their internal conflict. The situation has created a deadlock. We've been awaiting an opportunity for our squadron to return to the monastery. With you in the fray, I believe the state of the war will shift immediately. The church, as well as the kingdom and the Alliance. The time has come to eliminate them all. Although we were of different houses, we were companions who lived and learned together. Some of our ranks are hesitant to battle against them, and against the people of their homelands. However, knowing that you're alive is sure to raise their spirits. Good. Well then, I believe it's time for a little reunion. The Black Eagle Strike Force never lost faith. They knew you were alive and have been awaiting your return. Let's not keep them waiting any longer.
Well now, that face is certainly familiar. I am glad to see you alive and well, Professor.
Professor! It's me, Bernie! Do you remember me? I can't believe you're here!
I can't believe it! Is this a dream? Can we really be this lucky?
This is not dreaming. Our professor is with us again. Welcome to the back. I mean, welcome back.
Our group isn't the same without you. I am overjoyed to see you again.
It's been so long. Seeing you again fills my heart with hope.
Great! Now everything will be easy. That's great you're safe, Professor. I'm deeply, deeply moved.
Quite the reunion, isn't it, Professor? Everyone's happy to see you.
Come on, Edelgard. You must be happier than all of us combined. She took it really hard when you disappeared, Professor.
Of course, we did our very best in your absence. And there was never a day that we doubted you would return to us.
Edelgard has been leading us as Emperor, but after you disappeared, it became apparent that you were her anchor. It gives me regret to be admitting this, but our power is not enough. The only one who can be meeting Edelgard's expectations is you, Professor.
Most impressive of all is your uncanny ability to bring a smile to everyone's face.
In the years since you vanished, we have not lost anyone from our ranks.
We all longed for your presence and your leadership. Myself included.
It seems fitting to view this as a new beginning for the Black Eagle Strike Force. We already have our target.
Yes. We must eliminate the Alliance before moving on to fight the Kingdom and the Church. However, That doesn't necessarily mean we must occupy the entirety of the Alliance. House Rican stands against the Empire. Therefore, our target is Deirdre, the aquatic capital.
We must cross the Aramid River, which separates the Empire and the Alliance. To do that, we must take the largest bridge across it. The Great Bridge of Myrden. Myrden connects the monastery and the Imperial capital to the east. It is the shortest route there.
An Alliance stronghold has been built at the Great Bridge. We'll take that and then head north. At the same time, we must defeat the one who defends it, Judith von Daphne. If we can also take control of Daphne territory, it would be greatly beneficial to us. Prepare yourselves. The next battle will be a momentous one. Join me, my friends, as we begin our journey to bring peace and solace to this war-ravaged world.
I can't believe how long it's been since I left home. Since I was dragged out of the house, I mean. 5 whole years. It's weird to think about. No. But if you'd asked me that 5 years ago, I'd have said the opposite. I have friends here, and I have you. The monastery's become a second home to me. Back then, I never would have dreamed a day like this would come. It's all thanks to you. You've given me a second chance at life. If not for you, I never would have gotten used to leaving my room, let alone the monastery. Maybe the battlefields just dulled my senses. I'm much better with strangers and new places now, though. I don't panic nearly as much as before. A new place? All on my own? That sounds like a tough assignment. Where did this come from all of a sudden? Hey, hold on. You're teasing me, aren't you? Please don't joke around like that anymore. It's torture for me. You're still not taking me seriously. I mean it. Promise me you won't do that again. Friends respect each other's feelings, don't they? Good. I'll hold you to that. You're absolutely not allowed to send me out anywhere on my own. Got it? You would need to come with me. If you're with me, I can go anywhere in the world. No, that defeats the purpose. Why can't you get what I'm saying? I thought we were finally getting close. I guess I'm not good enough for that, though, am I? I'll let you have this one, but you better be ready for next time.
Something appears to be wrong with my...
I'm not good, but I'm loud. You might want to run for cover.
Take that! Oh, you know, there is always something. It never ends. Lately, I have been feeling uneasy, impatient. Edelgard claims victory after victory. She never stops. 5 years ago, she ascended the throne and swept away the corrupt nobles, my father included. I always thought I would be the one to unseat him. But she did it instead, with all the ease and indifference of someone cracking an egg. Now, as the head of House Eyre, I serve Edelgard. I have to accept that I am her subordinate, working beneath her to reunify Fodlan. The disparity between Edelgard and myself is obvious. She never stops moving forward, single-minded, never wavering. But where does that leave me? Here, flailing about, going nowhere, contributing nothing. But it is. That is the reality. Not once since our days at the Academy have I exceeded Edelgard's abilities. I saw her as a worthy opponent. She did not even see me as a contender. She did not even consider me at all. As the head of the noble House Eyre, I must be able to achieve results, but all my efforts have come to nothing. Results are everything. I have not shown results, so I will be stagnating here forever. I appreciate that, but it is not enough to persuade me. I know that I have a massive wall to climb, and I must climb it alone. Even so, may I ask a favor? Professor, please keep an eye on my progress. I would appreciate if you were always by my side, bearing witness to my accomplishments.
Standing tall, I see.
Edelgard, hello. What do you think of this horse? An equine marvel, no? Look how intelligent he is. You can see it in his face. Certainly much smarter than your horse.
Oh, what a lovely bloom.
Behold, Edelgard. Do you see this blood-red bloom? This is much more impressive than the pale little sprigs you have there. And as I'm sure you know, redness symbolizes courage and strength.
Ferdinand, stop. I can't believe you're wasting my time with a petty one-sided rivalry.
What are you complaining about? You told me not to publish my pamphlet, and I complied.
I've had enough of your foolish antics. Very well. I will grant you the duel you so desperately desire. But when I win, you must forfeit the right to bother me with your ridiculousness. Forever. Do we have a deal?
Ah, so you'll fight me after all? Wonderful. To battle, then! All right, Edelgard. Have at me!
As you wish. Ha!
It only took you one blow? How?
I can't afford to hold back against an opponent like you. I led with my fastest, strongest strike.
Fastest and strongest? You're just flattering me. I have been defeated. Utterly. I cannot believe I was foolish enough to challenge such a plainly superior opponent.
The difference in our skill level is not so great as all that. If you had taken the first strike, you might have won. That's why I didn't give you the chance.
I do not think talent is what separates us so much as ready. I had not the faintest idea of what to expect from a real duel. I was playing, but you were not. That such an ill-prepared noble would think to challenge you? It is laughable.
Ferdinand.
I have been watching you in secrecy, Edelgard, but you and Hubert were noticing me, correct?
Well, if you intend to shadow us like that, you can be sure it won't escape our notice. Hubert was primed and ready to remove you. I ordered him to stand down.
You have my thanks. I have been making a decision that I am wanting to learn from you. I was thinking it was enough to be shooting one bird with one arrow. But after speaking with you, I trained with hardness. Now I can be shooting 2 birds with 1 arrow.
2 pheasants? Are you implying that...
Yes, a single arrow.
That's astounding, Petra. It's perhaps a bit late to explain now, but what I was getting at earlier was actually...
I am having a joke.
You... come again?
I really was shooting these birds with 1 arrow, but my joke is that I did have understanding about what you told me. I took it to my heart.
Did you now?
You are a person with great bluntness. I am admiring of you. As an emperor, a commander, a warrior, and a friend, you are excelling at all that you do. All of the Empire is resting on your shoulders, and that is including Brigid, too. I will not be falling behind you. I will be carrying Brigid on my shoulders, too. And one day, you and I will be facing each other, and we will be shaking hands.
Yes, that much is certain. I can see that you no longer need me to look out for you. You and I are much the same. We dutifully shoulder our burdens and stand tall no matter what. It would be foolish of me to deny it.
Your words give me great joy. And it also gave me joy to see you being flustered when I was showing you the birds.
A cheap trick, to be sure, but inarguably funny. To think that you went to all the trouble of shooting 2 pheasants at once for the sake of a joke. Well played, Petra.
We both are growing every day. I hope we will keep doing so.
Your Majesty, might I have a moment of your time?
Yes, of course. Unless... you're not planning yet another magical exhibition, are you? Knowing you, it seems a safe bet. I can't imagine what else it could be. I already promised to help you revive House Nouvelle. If our campaign continues as it has, we'll soon prevail. There's no need to keep inventing spells.
I don't doubt that your Majesty has things well in hand when it comes to the war. Yet why should I allow that to deter me from achieving my ultimate satisfaction? As the scion of proud House Nouvelle, I shall bring about my grand achievement before my house is restored. On that, you may rely.
You have a strong will and a strong mind. You do not consider yourself above concerted effort either. Even during wartime, you trust your own ability to fight and survive. You're ever focused on the future and on the actions necessary to realize it.
Where is this coming from? If there's an angle to be played with this praise, it eludes me.
I was only speaking the truth. I find your efforts to be admirable.
Your words are sweet. And yet...
Yes? Please, go on.
Forgive me, Your Majesty, but you promised that House Nouvelle would be restored. Yet you work toward a future with no place for the noble houses of old. Granted, in your unified Fodlan, the acting lord for each territory will come from noble stock, but in the long term, your system will replace the nobility. Our role will change significantly.
That's exactly right. There will no longer be lords who inherently rule over a particular territory. Instead, nobles will act as government officials, working for the people in exchange for a salary. Officials will be selected from the general populace as well, bringing an end to the very concept of social standing. All will rise and fall by their own merits.
And it is for those reasons that I continue my magical research. Even if nobility ceases to exist as a concept, the meritorious spellcraft displayed by House Nouvelle shall make us a household name.
I must admit, your words strike a chord. I find myself oddly moved by your proclamation.
So you see, Your Majesty, the fortunes of my house dovetail nicely with your plans.
The road on which you stride courageously forward leads to my own bright future.
I too believe that the future you wish for can be found at the end of this path we're cutting.
Splendid! Oh, amid all this talk, I neglected to present my demonstration. Sit back as I, Constance von Nouvelle, display the never-duplicated Nouvelle style of spellcraft.
About that. Another time, yes? I have much to do elsewhere.
No, wait! There's no time like the present! Why, it shan't take more than an hour or two.
Show them this letter. Threaten them. Do what you must. Now go.
Yes, sir. Hubert, that letter. Is that what I think it was?
I suppose there's no denying it.
But Edelgard
explicitly forbade me to send it. Yes, I know.
I cannot believe it! You disobeyed a direct order? I thought you were her loyal aide.
Unwaveringly. All that I do for her. I seem to recall you expressing a similar sentiment. It is our role to guide her when she is on the wrong course of action. Is that not what you said?
You are not supposed to do it in secret. When you disagree with your leader, you must voice your concerns directly. Otherwise, what is the point?
The point is the same. Lady Edelgard's best interests are served whether she knows it or not. She needs not trouble herself with the mundane details of my actions. Only results matter.
You are sorely misguided. When I believe that Edelgard is making a mistake, I tell her as much. Through discussing the matter, I sometimes find that I was mistaken. To skip that process, to make a decision that is not yours to make.
Perhaps your advice is simply useless then.
Excuse me?
Listen to yourself. If I do as Lady Edelgard requires, then you tell me to be more independent. But if I tread my own path, I am misguided. I suppose the fault is mine for expecting any useful advice to come out of your mouth.
Ugh, I have had enough of your grousing. To think, I started to believe you were a useful aide.
Frigid ocean waters! I can feel them already!
Calm. Just listen to me for a moment. There's something I need to tell you. The reason I worked for House Varley, Bernadetta, was to kill you.
Ha! I knew it. I always knew you were out to kill me! Sink me into the deep, dark, freezing depths! Hold on. House Varley? But why?
As you well know, theirs is one of the 6 great noble houses, the true rulers of the Empire, and you're the heir, with a crest. There were tons of people who wanted you wiped out, like people who want to eradicate House Varley, or a relative who wants the glory for themselves. That particular breed of treacherous nobility is the kind that'd hire a kid to do their dirty work. The first thing that kid would do, get close to the target by befriending her. Find an in through, say, an assistant gig.
This kid you're mentioning sounds real. That was you, wasn't it?
Yours truly. My biggest mistake? Getting to know you. I crept into your room one night and readied my blade. The whole thing had been a breeze, up until that moment. I couldn't bring myself to do it. While I hovered there, hesitating, your father came in. You know the rest.
Why are you telling me all this? I'm so confused.
Because I want you to look at it objectively. I was hired to kill you. Your father protected you from me. A filthy assassin. He was looking out for you. You're lucky to have a father who cares for you enough to do that.
Father protected me? He protected me.
Yeah. Why would I lie? At this point, I figure it's you who hates me. And not the other way around.
I don't hate you, Yuri. But I mean, I do feel weird. But I don't know how to feel. Can't we just be friends? Like back then?
You want to be friends? With Me?
The reason you couldn't kill me was because we were friends, right?
Well...
You were my first friend. My very first friend. The first person who played with me. The first person who went on adventures with me. The first...
And you were the first friend I had to baby that much.
What do you mean? Well, even so, you were the first friend who cared for me.
The whole thing was probably a sham anyway. Though, you know, even if it was, I did have a lot of fun with you.
I knew it!
Survived. How very fortunate. Were you dead, I wouldn't be able to fight you. But you are very much alive. Now I have a chance to kill you.
Edelgard is controlling the Empire. She is putting the pressure on the Kingdom and Alliance. Empire and religion are at open war. It will be difficult for us at first. But corrupt nobles are many. That means the common people will rebel and be joining our side. With you, Professor, the battle tides will turn. I have certainty.
For 5 years, I fought for the Empire. I've cut down hordes of enemies. Now I have the same look in my eyes that the boar used to have in his. The look of a savage beast who loves nothing but destruction and violence. I hope not. You and Edelgard must not disappoint me. Mark my words. The future you're building had better be worth all this bloodshed.
Give the goddess my regards, yeah? Really wanted to die, huh? Once I've decided you're done, you're... Really wanted to die, huh?
Right. My father used to be a knight in service of the royal family of Fargus. For a time, he was at the monastery. But apparently, he's back in Fargus serving as a knight again. Which means, if I fight with this army, I'll eventually have to face my own father. Terribly. But I've accepted my fate. I'm ready for anything. Of course, if at all possible, I would prefer not to fight my father. This is the path I chose. I have no regrets.
Professor! Oh my, it's so good to see you. These days, so many old friends seem to be disappearing. But you're here. It's incredible to see you again after 5 years. I have a feeling your name will go down in history.
Right. Okay.
Hey, Professor, something's been bothering me. Remember that suspicious guy I chased after back when I was a student? A knight scolded me for it, but at the time, I really thought I was doing the right thing. Now that I've had more experience on the battlefield, though...
I've been looking for you. There isn't much time, so I'll keep this brief. The knights encountered a band of brigands while out marching. It was hard fought, but we prevailed. Our soldiers are highly trained, but the enemy was formidable, and we weren't expecting combat. There were a number of casualties among our troops. There is something I wanted to bring to your attention. The brigands all bore identical tattoos of a scorpion on their arms. Please, keep an eye out for that mark in the future.
Oh no.
Don't mention it. If you'll excuse me, I need to get back to my duties.
Heck of a coincidence, right? As soon as I mention that suspicious guy, this happens. But some of the knights died in combat. They died because of what I did 5 years ago. This is my fault. If I'd stayed quiet and tracked the guy down like you said, we would have stopped those brigands sooner, and I wouldn't have blood on my hands. But he probably wouldn't have. Now those knights, they're not coming back. We both know it. This is all my fault.
A moment.
By making an enemy of the church, disorder is running rampant among the populace. It's quieted down over these last 5 years, though. The well-being of Her Majesty is steadily improving.
Professor? Greetings, Professor. Nothing to report. What's that? Do I have brothers in the church? You really are well informed. My older twin works for the Knights of Saros, but I think he's just a grunt. Not a noble gatekeeper like yours truly. Unlike me, he's very devout. He left the Empire a long time ago.
Really, Ned? There's unrest everywhere these days. All of my fellow merchants seem to be in danger. I hope things go back to normal soon. People need more to smile about, aside from my great deals. Hey, how about a favor?
Hey, Professor?
Professor?
This may seem a bit sudden, but I want to thank you, Professor. That is, for letting me live my life the way I want. I've noticed you've been giving me fewer of those soul-revealing gazes lately. I appreciate you making an effort to not trouble yourself over who I spend my time with. If you say so. But I notice you doing it all the same. It's kind of sweet in its own way. Professor, may I tell you a story about when I was younger? I was an orphan, living in the back alleys of Enbar, until one day I was overheard singing. That was when my new life began. I was suddenly a songstress in the Middle Franc Opera Company. Performers, nobility. I met so many people. But none of them ever really knew me. I was just some young, pretty girl who could sing. A spectacle to be admired. Even though everyone praised my looks and my voice, and they showered me with gifts, I knew one day I'd be old. My looks would fade, my voice would change. I wouldn't sound the same. And I started to wonder, when I did get old, what would I have left? I'd be old, alone, and back on the streets of the capital, right where I'd started. That's sweet of you. Even if you are just flirting. I never had much to begin with in life. And I worry that one day I'll be that way again. That's why I keep searching for someone who will love me. Someone unaware of the songstress. Who can love a girl that used to be scared and alone on the streets of the capital. I wonder if such a strange person can even exist.
Hi. There were clashes with the Kingdom Army near the Western Front. But this is the first time the Alliance Army has had an honest-to-goodness fight. I hear their leader's pretty competent. But the Alliance Army is pretty tough, too.
Hey there. Ah, a new face. I am Randolph von Bergleys. I'm the guardian of this place. Wait a moment. I'm sure I've seen you somewhere before. Ah, yes. You're Her Majesty's professor. You're alive? Oh, this is my little sister, Fleisch. She's just a rookie, but she's helping me as my assistant.
Hello, I'm Fleisch von Bergleys. It's nice to meet you. I know I'm inexperienced, but I'm gonna do my best. You can count on me to look after my big brother.
I've heard you're planning to march into Alliance territory. I'll be here to guard the fort.
Maybe.
Hey, Professor. What have you been up to for 5 years? Hope you haven't gone soft. I got myself into perfect shape. Took all 5 years of pushing my muscles to the limit. But look! You bet I do! You gotta get training if you want to catch up.
Are we leaving for battle? I heard it's a long march, but it's fine. I've had plenty of time to stay inside lately, so I think it's time I run out. Yeah, I can do this. No more Bernie Bear. Oh, yeah. People call me Bernie Bear since I hole up in my den all the time. Not anymore, though.
Professor?
Hello.
Within the territories of the Alliance, the Gloucester and Daphne houses dominate the west. House Gloucester has always supported the Empire. There's not much chance of them defying us. So all that needs to be done to restore peace in the west now is to crush House Daphne.
No. The last 5 years have been difficult at times. My relationship with Edelgard is rather contentious, due to the incident with my father. Nevertheless, I cannot abandon my family's duties. As Duke Eyre, I must play my part in the Imperial Army. Edelgard intends to abolish the nobility, but I know I can dissuade her from doing so.
Another failure! How? Was there an error in my calculations? I had precious few materials as things stood. Where will I get more once these run out? Oh, don't act so rueful. You carried out my directions faithfully. Neither the credit nor the blame ought to be yours. My grand achievement is further away than I had hoped. House Nouvelle's future seems so dim. You're correct, of course. I mustn't be discouraged. It is hard to maintain one's patience after 5 years. But in the greater context of the history of House Nouvelle, 5 years is barely worth counting. I have been in a low place indeed to require so much reassurance. And for your reassurance, I am truly grateful. You have spurred me to continue my research. You've been useful to me in many ways, in fact. Research assistant, confidant, test subject, all of this is preparing you well for your greater role to come. My personal attendant! There are few as naturally servile as you in all of Fodlan. When House Nouvelle is at long last restored, we simply must find the proper position for you. Granted, this will be difficult, perhaps even impossible to accept, given your current status. But I rarely let the impossible stop me. I shall see it all done. The restoration of my house, installing you as my servant, and more. Are you ready for the next steps? Oh, come now. My sulk ended minutes ago. Do keep up, but on the rare occasion that I find myself at a loss, I grant you permission to lift my spirits. I don't know that I care for the hint of resignation in your tone, but no matter. I expect you to do your all for the sake of my house nonetheless.
No. Since the great nobles lost their standing, the regulation of the merchant houses has relaxed somewhat. You'd probably have thought that would make it easier for us to profit, but the world isn't so simple. The war has made the price of goods unstable, causing no end of hardship for the people.
I need a favor. Yes. His Highness, the new king, is in the process of unifying the kingdom under his command. His powerful army has joined forces with the Knights of Saros, who moved their seat to Fargate, and now they're presenting a united front against the Imperial army. They're our greatest enemy, absolutely. I don't relish the idea.
but there's no turning back now. For now, we should focus our efforts on the Alliance. The Kingdom and Church can come afterward. Judith, who defends the Great Bridge of Myrden, is a formidable opponent. We can't afford to drop our guard.
I'm relieved you're here, Professor. It seems we've reached a stalemate on the war front. I admit I'm feeling apprehensive about fighting the Alliance. I agree. It's time to shelve my personal feelings and focus on the bigger picture. I'll fight with full force. I'm counting on you to lead us to victory, Professor.
I have good friends in both the Alliance and Fargus, so this fighting weighs heavily on me. I can't bear the thought of battling the Knights of Seros to the death. I have to keep my chin up though, right? Let's press on together, Professor.
I've been working here for a few years now. There are plenty of others working here too. Since the acolytes and students aren't here, it's up to us to pick up the slack.
Wise indeed to set me to this task. I'm an excellent... maybe. This is hardly a palatable. Wow.
Ferdinand, I hope you'll take this opportunity to speak freely to me.
I do not require your permission to speak my mind.
Hello.
The north side of the Great Bridge of Myrden is in the territory of Acheron of the Alliance. He's known as the Weather Vane. He's a notoriously flippant man. A man like that doesn't have the guts to give it all for the defense of that bridge.
Indeed, House Gloucester will remain staunchly neutral in this war, even if we press into Alliance territory. My father is no threat to the Empire. Lady Edelgard surely understands that. The Great Bridge of Myrden, however, is another story. I hear it is held by Judith of House Daphnel. She is renowned for her military prowess. We would do well not to underestimate her.
Professor? Hey, Professor. It's been a really long time, hasn't it? The last 5 years have been full of heartbreak. Not from girls, but friends and family becoming enemies. One of the things that kept me going was the hope you'd return. And now here you are. A lot has changed, but you're back. And it's the first time I can remember being happy in a while.
Yeah. All right, I'm ready to fight. Let's do this. Leave it to me. I can take on the whole, most of the enemy's army. I know my limits now, Professor.
I thought you might be at the monastery. That's why I made my way here. I decided to follow your path because I believed in you. Then you vanished. Now that you've returned, I have my guiding light once again. Welcome back, Professor.
Me? After the battle 5 years ago, the Imperial Army occupied Garreg Mach. The cathedral and several other buildings were destroyed, but we've done some repair work here and there, and we're using the buildings as a base of operation. As for me, well, the church moved its headquarters to Fargus, and I've seen no reason to follow. When I returned to Enbar, I received a summons from Her Majesty, and I chose to answer.
Hey!
I'm not good, but I'm loud. You might want to run for cover.
Singing is nice, isn't it?
Professor, I'm sorry to have dragged you into the fight again so soon after our reunion, but you appeared at a most opportune time. I'm truly humbled by your support, my teacher. Thank you. And so I will. I'm hoping your abilities from 5 years prior are still intact. Make sure you're ready to head out, okay?
Allow me to brief you on the details of our situation. The Empire firmly controls the western portion of Fargus. However, the central and eastern regions continue to put up heavy resistance. The strongholds in these regions are Aryan Road, the fortress city, and Ferdiad, the kingdom capital. We cannot control Fargus until we have taken both of these cities. As for the Alliance, Houses Gloucester and Ordelia seem predisposed to capitulate to us. However, due to interference from Houses Regan and Goneril, we have yet to secure their cooperation. Claude obviously hopes to keep the Alliance whole through diplomacy. But because we have had to focus our efforts against the Church until now, our forces have yet to meet his. We have only recently begun to take the fight to Alliance territory. Allow me to... The Empire, the strong... However, Claude, but we have only... I have a request for you. Allow me to brief you. The Empire, the strong... However, Claude, but we have only...
Hello. Professor, do you know how happy I was to hear you were still alive? I'll tell you how happy. For the past 2 days, I haven't had my morning or my afternoon naps. Well, as long as we weren't marching. Can't sleep much then. But it's not for want of trying.
You finally joined us, have you? I attached myself to the Imperial Army as well. Seemed the thing to do. I feel I owe it to Edelgard to set my past feelings about the Empire aside. I am happy to help her. It's strange, isn't it? After 5 years, the 3 professors are together once more. I am most curious, though. You say you were asleep for 5 whole years. Incredible. Perhaps this is another effect of your crest. I do look forward to investigating you in greater detail. Wonderful news. I am most excited to begin. We must find the time, of course.
It's normal for history to be revised in favor of those who hold the power. The documents in this library are no exception. It's perfectly possible for someone to have made edits to them, but it's my belief that no one has the power to blot out the truth entirely. I like to read the same texts over and over again. That way, I can spot some of the truths hidden between the lines.
Well... I'm so glad to see you're all right. I really regretted not being able to keep the promise I made to my mentor. Captain Gerald, obviously. I'm still his first and greatest apprentice, you know. I'm going to do just what he asked. I'll be right here to support you from now on.
Professor!
Hey you, listen up. I've got something to report. It's you. You're still alive. It's been 5 whole years, hasn't it? Time flies when you're standing guard. That's right, I've been here the whole time. Day in and day out. Not like I have anywhere else to be. The Imperial Army hasn't interfered with us all that much, so it's business as usual here in Abyss. I mean, as usual as it gets here anyhow.
Oh no, a lot of folks cleared out once the fighting started. People are saying it was the church that used to keep order around here. But it's Yuri who's saving us from complete chaos.
Need something? This one? This one? See you again soon. Hey, pal. You've got a lot of nerve coming here after ignoring us for 5 years. Ha! Gotcha! All this time and you still can't take a joke. Good job surviving and clawing your way back to us. This day couldn't get better if it tried. Say, now that you're back, we should celebrate with some liquid gold. We're not your students anymore, so it should be fine, yeah? Oh, I like this idea. We'll make it a wild party. Even the Emperor won't be able to turn it down.
If you haven't heard, we'll soon be launching a full-scale assault on the Alliance. Her Majesty has searched relentlessly for you. Now that you're found, her moment has come. Yes, before then, I had never known her to show such desperate resolve. The stalemate we've been locked in shall give way very abruptly. We have your reappearance to thank for that.
Used to be a rather important person in the church, but I am in exile for committing a crime. I embezzled some money, but it wasn't out of greed. My hometown was pillaged, you see, and the church wasn't putting in enough to rebuild.
Oh, is that? It is you, isn't it? I kind of forgot what you looked like. No doubt. A lot can happen in 5 years. A baby goes from crawling and babbling to walking and talking in that time. Anyway, you came back, and that's what matters. Staying here wasn't a mistake. I can say that much.
Abyss is okay. The Burt kept it safe out of the goodness of his heart. Kidding, of course. He said the lowlives here could be useful, because they won't mind fighting dirty, or rooting out spies, or something along those lines. I didn't pay much attention to that part. Yeah. Honestly, I'm psyched that you're back. It's all I can do to stop myself from whooping with joy. I could use your help.
Why, hello there. If it is your wish. Everything is within your grasp. Come back soon now.
Thanks for giving me a hand.
If you don't mind, I have a favor to ask.
Hey! I was so surprised to hear that the faith of Saros was a sham, my eyes nearly popped out of my skull. But just because the church lied to us doesn't mean that the goddess isn't real. That's my take on it anyway. I'd feel very anxious with no one to pray to.
Professor, since you came back, everyone's been smiling. Just you being here makes an incredible difference. I can't express how reassuring it is to see you.
Huh? My savior, thank you.
Ooh,
This food brings fond memories.
I've eaten many meals.
I appreciate any. Constance, am I mistaken, or were you somewhat averse to vegetables in the past?
Mercedes, shush! Keep these embarrassments to yourself while there are others present.
My favorite meal at my...
Wow.
I must have had a nightmare.
You're awake.
I mean,
Euritsa.
Yeah, that's it. Professor Euritsa.
I am not a professor.
Wait, what? You're not Professor Euritsa? Oh, yeah. Professor Euritsa always wears a mask. So then, who are you?
Euritsa.
I don't understand. Look, are you Professor Euritsa or aren't you? Please make yourself clear.
I am Euritsa, but I am not a professor.
A Euritsa who is not a professor? So there are two Euritsas running around the monastery? Wait. Aha! I got it. I get it now. You're no longer a professor. Therefore, you're just Euritsa. Plain old Euritsa. Our professor isn't a professor anymore either, but doesn't mind the title. I guess I figured you'd be fine with being called professor as well.
When I was teaching, it was simply a task. Nothing more.
I don't really get it, but it sounds like there's a lot going on in that skull of yours, Euritsa. Bernie, what the heck are you even doing in the infirmary?
You took one look at me and passed out.
Huh? Don't be silly. There's absolutely no reason I'd faint at the sight of... I'm coming down with a sudden cold, I think. Yeah, I've gotta run to my room.
This is my most favorite dish of all. I love it almost as much as crestology.
While I have little interest in food, I will admit to a weakness for this one dish.
Delicious, is it not? There is little that can rival the taste of a freshly caught fish grilled to perfection over an open flame. I prefer mine with a pinch of salt.
Look at you, eating regular food like the rest of us regular folk.
It's only temporary. A fish from the river is a coin saved at the marketplace. My project will require every bit of gold I can spare.
Plus, there's a war going on. We've all got to save money however we can.
Constance, what is that shabby meal you're eating with such lowly company?
I suppose after all that's happened, she's given up on regaining her noble title. Probably for the best.
How dare you!
Would you two mind your own business? We're just trying to eat in peace.
Did you hear that? It sounds like a stray cat is screeching at us.
Oh dear, she's not using any silverware to speak of. She's just eating with her paws.
I'd expect that from a commoner, but Constance seems to be doing the same thing. How humiliating.
Oh, we're so vicious. Beating up on poor, pathetic Constance after all of her setbacks.
What are you laughing at?
Pardon my outburst, but I couldn't help myself after your ridiculous conversation. How I eat my fish has nothing to do with my status. In fact, I shall vow one thing now. When House Nouvelle is restored, I shall bite into a whole fish thrice weekly.
Pardon?
Moreover, Happy is a dear friend. I won't permit you to call her a stray cat or anything so insulting. We shall continue to remain steadfast friends, even after my title is restored.
And how soon do you expect that to happen?
We both know that if she carries on with such disgraceful behavior, she won't restore her house anytime soon.
Well, for the upper class, those two seemed rather classless.
What just happened?
Oh, I knew them of old. They were callow noblewomen from the School of Sorcery.
No, I mean, you said that I'm a dear friend. Did you really mean that?
Oh, one says all sorts of things when one feels like being cruel. But yes, I really meant that. Even when I am a noble once more, I expect you to keep me company well into my dotage.
Of course, Coco. Won't be easy getting rid of me. Why did you bring me here? It's so isolated.
That would be the point.
Yikes. See you around, B.
Hang on a second. Out here, in a place like this, you should be free to sigh, yeah?
What do you mean by that?
I just thought it would do you well to cut loose and sigh to your heart's content.
Really? You found a nice quiet place where you could annoy me without putting bystanders at risk?
Why does this always happen? That's not what I meant. This is me doing something nice for you. You said before that you can't ever relax because you're worried about endangering others. A lot's been going on recently, so let her rip already. Sigh until you can sigh no more.
That's nice of you. A chance to relax and sigh as I please. Sounds good. But what do we do about the monster?
What do you think? A monster shows up, I punch it in the nose. Done deal.
By yourself?
I'm never alone, pal. These two fists are always by my side, and they never let me down.
Oh, right.
It doesn't have to be here if you have performance anxiety, but anytime you accidentally call a monster, just holler and I'll punch it to next Tuesday. In fact, maybe it's best if you just stick by my side from now on. Do that and you're free to sigh whenever the urge strikes.
Why would I have to stay by your side?
Not a lot of people in this world can knock out a beast without breaking a sweat. I'm one of them. And since I'm always on the run from bounty hunters, I'm an exceptionally light sleeper.
You expect me to sleep by your side too?
Ooh, this may be my best idea yet. If I'm always with a monster summoner, fewer people will come after my bounty. This is brilliant.
You never change, B. You're so predictable. All right, have fun.
Have fun? That's an odd thing to do. Monsters, they're everywhere. This is gonna be a blast.
It's hard not to like that dummy.